Welcome back to an instant reaction edition of the Night Report podcast. I'm your host, Mike Broadbent. Joining me is my co-host, Richie Schneiderite. Yes, we've seen your comments about the co-host things in the chat. I'm just going to go with host now if it annoys you guys that much, whatever.
Who cares?
Anyway, this is an instant reaction edition of our podcast because Rutgers has a new commitment. Florida linebacker Samarion Robinson flipped from UCF to Rutgers today. He's a 6'3", 215-pound linebacker at a Lincoln High School in Tallahassee, Florida. Tell us a little bit about this kid, Richie, because it seems like Rutgers hasn't been recruiting him that long, and he's from the general area in Central Florida, and he decided to come up to Rutgers, and he committed today. So, what happened there?
So basically, they offered in late May. He was a UCF commit since late January. He chose UCF over a couple good offers like Louisville, Maryland, South Florida, Cincy, who I always forget. Like I usually list the Power 5 offers, and then I'm like, now I have to include Cincy and like Central Florida. And
I was going to say you have to include Central Florida too because they're now a member of the Big 12.
It's kind of trippy. So this is a really good get though for Rutgers. I mean, you're able to flip a kid from Central Florida who was one of their higher rated commits. He just visited their campus on June 2nd. For an official visit. He was also at it's called Bounce House Weekend, which is like kind of a play on their whole space theme and their space program and all that. But yeah, no, this is a really good commit for Rutgers. They offered him late, like I said, in late May, got him on campus this past Tuesday. It started, I believe. I guess he technically flew in on Monday night, but Joe Harris-Simiak led the way here and just was able to lock him down, get him to campus, and then seal the deal with the official visit. And that was pretty much it. So it's really as simple as that. Now, you're not just beating out the programs I listed before because since he committed to Central Florida, he added Arizona, he added Colorado, Mississippi State. He visited Georgia. He visited Florida for camps and visits. So this is a kid that you beat out quite a few programs for. So this is a really good flip for Rutgers, and I think their first flip of the 2024 class.
Yeah, this is the yin to the yang. We lose a flip in Judah Pruitt to Boston College. We gain a flip in Samarion Robinson from UCF. So you just kind of got to roll with it. This is how recruiting works. Talk a little bit about his game, though. It sounds like he's a really good athlete. Has he been playing football for a long time? Just break his game down a bit.
Yeah, so basically he plays down in Tallahassee, Florida. Tallahassee, everyone knows, Florida State's territory. They didn't offer, which I found a little bit interesting, but they're kind of recruiting on a different level, this recruiting class. But regardless, he's technically listed as an inside linebacker per us, but I think that's completely wrong. I'll be flat out honest about it. I didn't list it, so someone else did. I think he's an outside linebacker all the way, 6'3", 215, 214, I think we have him at. He's fast. He's quick. He's a good sideline-to-sideline linebacker. Does a good job tackling and wrapping guys. His 40-yard dash is listed as a 4.67, which isn't the craziest thing in the world, but it's not bad either. I would just say it's pretty good. That's about it. But from what I was told, he's tested at a couple different camps this spring, and that's kind of where those offers came from. And that's basically why all these Power 5 schools are all of a sudden after him, and why Rutgers got in pretty. I wouldn't say late, but it definitely wasn't early. So this is just a really good flip for Rutgers. He also plays strong safety for his high school program, so he has a little bit of coverage skills. But overall, just a big hitter, good linebacker, big hitter, good form tackler. And I don't know his competition that well at Lincoln High School because that's a newer one that I've heard. But from based on what I was told, everyone loves him down there, and he's a really good get. This is a great get and a great overall get in this linebacker class that's got Sam Piloff, Montel Johnson, and now Samarion Robinson, which is Florida, Michigan, and Wisconsin, which I couldn't have predicted for the life of me when this recruiting class started.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about this is the third linebacker commitment in the class, the second one in the past few weeks. Rutgers, I didn't expect them to take three linebackers. So they wrapped up at linebacker for this class.
Yeah, so originally I didn't expect them to take three linebackers either. The plan was two the whole way, and then they offered this kid, and it's like, all right, that's a little bit interesting. That leads to a couple things here. So that means Willie Love is probably kind of out of a spot at this point, and so is Noah Shaw. those two guys visited campus for official visits. I want to say 2 weeks ago at this point. So yeah, it sounds like those guys are just kind of I don't want to say shit out of luck, but they're shit out of luck at this point. So we'll see what happens with their recruitments. I know Noah Shaw is set to go to East Carolina this weekend. I think he also visited Duke the weekend after Rutgers, so maybe he ends up there. As far as Willie Love goes, he doesn't have any other official visits. He was want to take some in fall, but this leans more towards what we were hearing, that Willie Love is a true tweener. A lot of programs, including Rutgers, see him as a linebacker at that next level. So that's that for that one. His head coach, Malik Brown, is also brothers with Maryland offensive analyst Preston Brown. So most of you probably remember Preston was the head coach at Woodrow Wilson / now Eastside High. So I'd keep an eye on that program right there. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty much it for linebacker, it seems like, and they're at 15 now, I believe. So you're kind of getting a little kind of getting full, actually, for the most part. So you got to kind of be picky and choosy on what you want now. Maybe you add one more D lineman to make it 4 total in the class, probably another 2 receivers, and then you probably just you start focusing on the portal. The portal's coming up quick, and I think the portal is going to be an in-season type thing nowadays, because kids are going to realize, like, hey, like, I'm not playing much. Screw this. I'm out. Take my redshirt year. So we'll see.
No, I agree. If after 2-3 games, if a guy's not happy with his role on a team, we saw it in the past, you know, even as far back as, 5-6 years ago. Do you remember how many kids basically sat out that one year? I think it was Ash's last year, between, Art Sikowski and Blackshear.
Blackshear, yeah. Who actually still follows Rutgers to this day, interestingly enough. I talked to him not too long ago. I think it was during the spring game, and he was asking me what channel it's on and like how he can watch it. So he does still follow it. There's no, as much as Rutgers fans want to get pissed at Blackshear for leaving, under that regime, do you really blame him? Because no. I'll be honest, I don't.
I don't either, and I'm glad that he made the NFL. You always root for these guys to make it. It's so hard. They put in so much time and effort and sacrifices that it's always, even if a guy transfers out, I'm always glad to see them make the league.
Yeah, of course.
So it's interesting now looking at the class breakdown of where these guys are from. Like, this is the 5th commitment for Rutgers from Florida in this class. They only have 2 recruits from the state of New Jersey, and it doesn't seem like there's very many others that are super high on either Rutgers list or are super high on Rutgers in general that they're going after. We have more commitments in our class right now from the state of Michigan than we do from the state of New Jersey. And I think this is just further outlining that, Chiano and company are going to go after talent where it's receptive. And if that's in Florida, if that's in Big Ten country, if that's not in the state of New Jersey, then so be it. Those guys will show interest when they turn the program around, but if they're not interested right now, then, as we've said in the past, F them.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
go on.
No, you go ahead, because
I redid the spreadsheet for the 2024 class, and I'm looking at it right now. I'll be honest with you. I don't think they land another. Maybe Taj Sanders is the only one. I don't think they land another Jersey kid, to be honest with you. I think that might be, pending new offers. I'm not counting those because I don't know who the hell they're going to offer in the future. But I think this is it. This is it for Jersey. I think they're pretty much done. And it's 2 kids, which is interesting to say the least. But New York's kind of been their bread and butter recently. And that's where I think you'll add at least 1, maybe 2 more, maybe 3 more. Probably going to go with 2 at the minimum. Go with 1 at the minimum, maybe 2 tops. But yeah, I mean, this is it. They're going to go, if you're not going to stay home, they're going to go Florida. They're going to go Michigan, for example. They're going to go North Carolina, which is a new state of Rutgers ground. They're going to go to Wisconsin, and in Canada kind of too, because that leans back towards the Lumen brothers, who are both Canadian, or Raynor Andrews, who's from the Bahamas. So this is a very unique class. And it's a pretty good one though for Rutgers, all things considered.
Yeah. Also, it's interesting that there's no PA kids in the class, no Delaware kids. There's only one New York kid.
That's true.
It's a true wide distribution. Like, it seems like everybody in this class is from at least 100 miles away from campus or more.
Yeah, it's actually insane.
More. Probably more like 300 miles at least.
Yeah, and touching on that a little bit too. I don't know if you saw on our boards yesterday, but for people that that don't know, John Garcia Jr. is our new rivals recruiting analyst for the Southeast region. So basically Florida, Georgia, Alabama. He posted on our board. So Rutgers offered a 2025 kid out of Florida, so to speak, in Khalil Campbell. He's a running back. He's a little on the smaller side, but he even said to our message board yesterday that it's one to keep a really close eye on. And I know I'm talking 2024 class and now moving to 2025, but kids are committing. There's a couple classes already out there that have like 3, 4, 5 commits in 2025 already. So keep an eye on that. And he's going to be a real name to keep an eye on in Khalil Campbell out of Clearwater Academy, but he's a Canadian native. So you kind of see the connection there.
Yep. So circling back to Samarion Robinson, is he shutting down his recruitment now? Is he done taking visits?
That's what it sounds like. This is where it gets tricky. I'm going to be you guys aren't going to like my stance on this, but when it comes to a kid that was committed somewhere else and was taking visits elsewhere and then flips elsewhere and to a totally different school, my thinking is that he's still going to take visits, especially if programs are going to still show interest in him. If he has a big senior year, keep an eye on Florida State, who's down the street from him. Keep an eye on Florida, who took him on a visit, I want to say 13 days ago, something like that. Maybe it might have been a month ago at this point. I don't even know. I know it was this spring. That's what I know. He also visited Georgia. I don't think Georgia's going to take him at all, but God forbid, you never know. So I do think all the Florida schools are ones to keep an eye on, especially the bigger name like Power 5 schools, because they're always going to be a threat for Florida kids. And so you kind of see with a lot of these recruitments nowadays, like a kid like Jamari Howard, for example, was committed to Michigan State, went on a Rutgers official visit. Now it sounds like he's dead set on staying in Florida, whether that be Florida, Florida State, or even UCF showing interest in him as well. So it's definitely hard to say if he's going to fully shut it down. He's saying he's going to shut it down, but is he? To be determined.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Florida kids, like we've said over and over, they're different. It's just a lot different down there in general. So
yeah,
we've seen that over the years, time and time again.
We'll see.
So we're gonna have to constantly recruit this kid to keep him committed, but that's to be expected. What else do we got for today? Is there anything that you want to touch on other than this commitment?
Not football wise. I mean, for the most part, football. This War Room on Friday, I'm gonna have a giant update on the recruiting class, and they'll kind of show you where things stand with most of the rest of the offerees that haven't committed elsewhere. In terms of other committed elsewhere guys, I don't really see anyone that's on the verge or close to flipping at all. And like I said before, it's probably gonna go portal pretty quickly. In terms of transfer portal for Rutgers football, they're mostly done. They do want an offensive tackle really bad, but I posted this on the board, and I'll say it on here too. They've reached out to guys, but there was, for example, there was one guy they reached out to recently, and apparently he's getting like 400 and something K for 1 year, like a rental. Jesus. And it's just like, okay, well, sorry, I guess we'll hang up the phone. I'll talk to you later.
And be mindful, this isn't for like a tackle that is arguably the best tackle in the portal. This is the best left at this point. Like somebody probably had an injury and needed to fill in that's competent. Like this is just like how much it costs at this point in the calendar for competent play.
Yeah. And then it's funny because someone on our board said, they're like, why doesn't Shiano find 400K to make this happen? This could be the difference between 4 and 6 wins. And I'm like, yeah, no, you're right on the 4 and 6 wins thing. Like it could be the difference maker, but like, you got 400K just laying around that you want to throw into the Knights of the Raritan real quick, then do it. By all means, do it. Like, what are you waiting for? Yeah. You can be the difference. You could be the GM, basically, if you have 400K laying around that you just want to throw in at this collective or one specific kid. Like, go for it. But that's just not how it works. Like, Rutgers has, the second lowest endowment in the Big Ten already? And donor support,
yeah, sounds about right.
It's like I think it's behind Maryland or in front of Maryland, who's dead last somehow. But yeah, like there's a ton of alumni, but no one donates back, and that's the big issue. That was always the issue. It's not just NIL. Now it's just turning into an NIL issue. It went from we don't have money for facilities, money for donors, money for this, to now we don't have money for kids either. So do they have money? Yes, they have some money. Do they have 400K laying around for an offensive tackle that's from a lower level program? No. They don't. So if you have $400K and you want to be that difference maker to getting a bowl game, do it.
Yeah, no, they'll gladly take the money and spend it for guys that they're looking for. But it's like you said, that's not how things work. It's not how Rutgers fans and donors work. But they would gladly take it and spend it if they had it. That's basically the point.
Yeah, so it's that's all I got for football recruiting. That's basically my little rant there. But yeah, and then in terms of basketball, we could shift to that a little bit.
Sure. What's going on with the basketball team?
So 2025 official recruiting period started last week. We posted an article. I told you like 6, 7, 8 kids, whatever it was. One of those 6, 7, 8 kids was on campus yesterday. So he, what do you call it? Nigel James, he's out of Massachusetts. He, where the heck is this post? I can't find it. Cushing Academy, one of the prep schools up in Massachusetts. We'll have more on him shortly, as Zach Smart's very familiar with him, very familiar with the program up there and all those guys. But he also plays for Expressions Elite, which is Gavin Griffith's AAU team, which is another connection there. And it's more towards the trend of Pikel going towards these smaller guards. He's only about 6 foot tall, listed. So mind you, let's be honest, that's probably not anywhere near. It's probably more like 5'10", 5'11", which is fine. But those smaller, faster guards is what they kind of want in going forward, it seems like. So really good really good offer early on for Rutgers. And yeah, I think this is going to be one to watch out for in the future, especially for the 2025 class.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting seeing the staff transition to the 25 class. It's always interesting watching, a program transition to the next recruiting class, because it's just like, it's like opening a brand new pack of cards. Like, you don't really know what's going to be in there. You might get a rare, you might get, an autograph. You don't really know until you kind of get around to it, because we're so, focused on the current class right now, and wrapping up the 24 class.
Yeah. So other than that, our rankings came out this week. I think we talked about that already, though. Pikel went on Sirius XM recently to talk about his program on the Big Ten morning show, the Big Ten This Morning show, or something like that. Mm-hmm. He did mention about Paul leaving. He didn't drag him through the mud or anything like that. It's Paul's his second son. So yeah, he didn't say anything bad about him. He did kind of confirm that he would have started, but we knew that. It wasn't a secret that Paul would have started. It's just the issue was that Paul wasn't going to start the point guard spot. Paul probably would have started like that facilitator type role as almost a 3 pretty much, or maybe a 2, but I don't know. It's tough, but he very high praise for enrolled freshman Gavin Griffiths. Basically said he's going to play a lot. I don't think that was a secret. They need offensive help, and that's a hell of a shooter right there to start. So he'll probably start at this point. They're still trying to get a guard. They're expected, mind you, to get a guard on campus this weekend. As long as it happened, as long as everything goes status quo with paperwork, this, that, and the third, he'll be on campus this weekend. If not, it sounds like it could be pushed back a weekend, but they're very confident in this said transfer prospect, so we'll wait and see what happens there. Jermichael Davis officially signed, so you guys can stop worrying. I told you he signed a month ago, 2 months ago, whatever the open period was for signing. He signed. It just wasn't public. He wanted to do something with his family. I don't know what ended up happening with that. It is what it is. He's on campus. Emmanuel Agbo, I don't know how to pronounce that either, is expected to be on campus. I haven't seen anything confirming it yet, but they already did post something about him signing, so he's good to go too. And then we're just kind of waiting to see what Dylan Harper's decision is. That's pretty much it. That's all we're waiting on at this point in terms of Rutgers basketball. So
yep, and that could be undetermined amount of time at this point. It could be weeks. He could just decide I want to end this, or it could be months. So I know that we're all just at the edge of our seat. We're hoping it happens sooner rather than later. But his schedule is absolutely insane. So I get him wanting to take a more deliberate approach to figuring out where he's going to go to college. I totally understand that approach.
Yeah. Did you see my tweet with Dylan?
No. What did you say?
So he posted his photo with the USA jersey, and it was it was number 10. And I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. And then I was looking, I was like, I'm going to do some research real quick. Look throughout his top 5 programs, and I'm like, all right, Kansas has number 10 retired. Therefore, Kansas is eliminated. They're done. Although he does wear 2 for everything else, so it doesn't matter, I guess, technically. But yeah, no. So if you do the math right now, he wore number 10. Number 10 at Kansas is retired fully, so he can't have it. Therefore, Kansas is no longer a threat. It's down to Rutgers or Duke, like it's always been. That's my analysis.
Yeah. A lot of interesting NBA basketball rumors and news too. It sounds like Damian Lillard just requested a trade. There's a rumor about you're rubbing your hands together like the hungry raccoon. I mean, what is Dame gonna do for the
Nothing.
Nets? By the way,
we're not even getting past the second round, so it don't matter. But it's just cool to have a superstar again, especially because I never thought we'd get one after the shit show we had before.
Yeah, and I mean, he's not on the Nets yet, but everyone's connecting the dots because they're a better suited team to win, I guess, in theory, than the Blazers. It's kind of I could see it either way because, like, I don't know. If you added a guy like Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson,
Whoa,
plus you've already got
Charlotte's, dude. He's going Charlotte apparently for Woj.
Yeah, it's what I mean is you have two really good options.
Oh, yeah.
Or you have a good option going to be available to you.
Yeah,
you guys got like Shaden Sharp and Simons. Like they got talent, but I get where he's coming from. That it's all young guys that he would have to like carry along the way, basically.
Yeah. Speaking of NBA, I didn't even think about this. We should have mentioned this before. So I talked to a source yesterday about Caleb McConnell, just to check in, see what's going on. Caleb had 3 more workouts this past week with NBA teams, and I was like, damn, dude, I can't. Through Thursday through this past Thursday through Monday, I was trying to think, damn, like how many teams did he work out for? So he ended up finishing with 8 workouts total. It's pretty good for a kid that I didn't think was going to be a G League player, but his agent basically has told me that he's working really good. Great feedback from the teams, which, I mean, he's not going to tell me it's bad feedback.
Yeah.
Said the jumper has improved quite a bit, and that's the most notable things teams have said about his workouts. They don't know what exactly is going to happen yet. I don't think he's going to get drafted. I'll just start by saying that. But I do think he has a great shot at getting to the G League. He'll at least get a summer league invite. And I don't think a 2-way is the craziest thing in the world because his defense is at that crazy next level. I think it's going to be a hard sell on a 2-way, but I do think he has a really good shot of playing in the G League.
Yeah, I don't see the 2-way personally, but G League I definitely see. Like the Athletic put out their top 100 like draft eligible prospects, and Caleb was on there. He was number 75, and 60 guys get drafted, so he's not that far outside the range of getting drafted. I do think that he's got a shot. Like basically what the report said, because they did like a full like 2-page write-up on him. Basically they said that he's an elite defender, nothing we don't know, but like a lot of like the intricacies of defending they went into, just like active hands and like just
footwork,
footwork, just an incredible like savant level understanding of defense and passing lanes. But they said if he improves his offensive game, his jumper, and his ability to finish around the rim, like he's an NBA player. And I think I've said that, you've said that. Yeah. I've compared him to like a poor man's what's his name? Mitzi Steibel. I still stand by that. Like he's an elite defender who has a very raw offensive game, we'll say. But I mean, I'm rooting for him. He's one of my favorite Rutgers basketball players ever. Just like great teammate. Just wanted to do kind of anything to help the team win. So came back for a 5th year when he didn't have to.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Yeah. I mean, good for him. I hope he gets selected. I'm not confident in it, but I do think he'll be on a G League team at the very least. And who knows, with injuries and stuff, maybe he gets a call up, or maybe gets a 10-day contract next year and get to see Caleb McConnell playing in the NBA.
Yeah. No, we'll definitely be rooting for the guy. I also don't see him getting drafted, but I do see him getting a lot of offers to join summer league teams and be on some kind of G League team, because G League team, like people just it used to be fairly easy to get on when it was the D League to get on one of those
Mm-hmm.
teams. It's gotten so much harder to get a G League invite. It's like 2 or 3 times harder to make a G League team than it used to be, even like 5 to 10 years ago.
The other thing with him getting drafted too that I want to mention is there's 2 forfeited picks tomorrow in the draft, so that's kind of there's either 2 less chances, so it's like it kind of hurts guys a lot, but at the same time you almost I don't want to say you don't want to be drafted, obviously, but like if you're in that late of a section, like in this late second round, you almost kind of want to pick your team. So kind of look at the roster, output that, and pick your team based on that stuff. But I do think we'll see a lot of Big Ten names on Thursday, and it's always interesting to me when we watch guys that like Caleb has locked up, for example.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, there he is. He's getting drafted first round. Like, oh, shit. It goes to show how good his defense really was.
Yeah, and if you just take a look at like some of the top teams in the NBA in terms of like developing players, like how many undrafted guys were on the Heat this past year in the finals run? Like 6 or 7?
Yeah, it's crazy.
You look at the Raptors, who Ron's on, like one of their best players, Fred VanVleet's undrafted. Like there's a lot of good undrafted players in the NBA who stick. So it's not no knock on him if he doesn't get drafted.
Yeah, so we'll wait and see what happens there. But yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to Caleb, and that's all I really got. Other than that,
all right, guys. Well, thanks again for tuning in. Thanks to everybody who left a comment. We have a tidal wave of comments on the last video.
Yeah. Keep doing it.
And we'll extend it here. If you comment, keep pounding nails in the comment section. You'll get entered into the drawing for the prizes that we're doing for the giveaway. Like we said previously, we're doing a Clifo Marie jersey, we're doing a Ron Harper jersey, and we're doing a year sub to the site as the 3 prizes. If you list your rival's screen name and you're a premium member, you'll get a second entry into the contest. So in the comments below, keep pounding nails.
Keep pounding.
With your screen name. Done. But once again, thanks for listening. This has been another edition of the Night Report Podcast. Signing off.